Hi, I am 16 and basically yesterday I was struggling mentally really hard and was sobbing and I didn't want to feel it, so I went to the stash in my room where I have rubber cement and old packets that I used to have Benadryl in. I grabbed the rubber cement expecting to just use it for 15 to 20 minutes as I usually will do, as it keeps me mentally just gray and floating for like 2 to 3 days. I went to my bed with the rubber cement at midnight or so and put a rag over the top so it wouldn't get on my nose rings. I started sniffing away, and after just 4 or 5 inhales, I noticed the effects becoming lighter and tingly. And then, already the dissociation started, as when I would look away from the can of cement, it would take me a second to realize where I was. As I kept on going, the visual tracing started, and everything was being seen in 3 to 4 seconds. I could wave my hand and see the trail left behind. Around now, it was only 5 minutes in. Ringing in my ears started. It was going up and up, then would reset after a peak and keep going. Everything in my room was wavy and drifting, and from my bed, the other side of my room looked as if it was hundreds of feet away. The peaks that followed the ear ringing would come, and my vision would glitch and fold in on itself, with one eye would go black, and then the other one went black, with the only one focal point a blurred color and weird blob shapes. After a few seconds, I assumed my vision would come back, and the ringing would start again. At this point, I turned around to the other side of my bed and was looking at my wall and blankets. I was seeing shadow figures in my blankets and seeing figures in my room. The figures in my blanket had white dot eyes, and my wall looked buzzy and grainy. Everything had noise on top of it. I turned around to the other side of my bed and looked at my cabinet, and I felt another peak coming on. The peak, as it was coming, I could feel it in my body. It felt like there was an airplane flying over on top of me. The feeling got more intense, and the ringing in my ears got louder. Then I peaked. My left eye went black, and my right eye went black, with one focal point being left. The light split into 3 colors and started spinning. It looked like a loading screen. After this, my vision came back. Everything was gray, and my hand had only a few colors left around it, being yellow, red, and green. I was hearing things at this point, and was hearing everything with a delay, and I thought I heard my mom coming, so I laid down with the cement next to my nose. So of course, the thought of my mom coming came, but quickly left my mind, and I continued. I was laying there sniffing, staring at my bed sheets and my phone case. My blankets faded away and my phone was floating in blank space. It looked so weird. I got up again and looked around my room, and my wall started coming towards me, then stopped when I took a double take. I laid back down on one elbow with the rubber cement and sniffed away. It felt like the container was a part of me at this point, and if I tried taking it away from myself, it was going to be the end of the world. I blacked out for a little bit at this point while just sniffing, but all of a sudden, I heard a man say something about, "Stop throwing paper." I thought with my whole heart I was caught, and I looked around anxiously, seeing if anyone was in my room, but no one was there. Then right before my brain could process that no one was there, it happened again, but from a different angle of this guy giving someone paper and saying, "Stop throwing paper." This kept on happening over and over again, but I kept on sniffing as it felt at the time like I was breathing the crisp air of a December morning. All of a sudden, as that kept happening, it felt as if I was catapulted away from my bed as I watched this man give some figure paper, saying to stop throwing paper, and I kept on thinking if I was caught, but my brain could not piece together that I was not caught by anyone, but I thought I was. I started drifting, flying back from the space I was in. It looked like I was floating in the Earth's atmosphere, and the Earth was my bed. As I was floating back, falling down to the earth, as this man kept on giving this figure paper over and over again, I got near water, and this small shark, no bigger than the size of a goldfish, bit my nose. And all of a sudden, the man grabbed my nose, and I felt him grab me. I felt like paper, and I was being grabbed over and over by him, not being passed by anyone, just clipping back and back. I eventually snapped out of it, still so scared I was caught, and this hallucination/thought loop would not stop. It kept on happening. I looked for the rubber cement, and I was so fucked up I could not remember where it was because I dropped it at some point, and I spilt half the rubber cement container on my bed. I wiped the spilled cement with the rag I put over the bottle, and I got up and grabbed the lid, closed the container as I still kept on thinking I was getting caught by someone as this man kept on handing something to her, which morphed from paper to the rubber cement, and I rushed and threw it back into my stash. At this point, it was 2 hours later. I walked into my bathroom and kept on looking at my door as the man kept handing my mom the object, and I kept expecting to see her, and I could feel her presence, but she just was not there. Everything was still being seen in threes, and sound was still echoing. As the thought loop/hallucination kept going, it made me so anxious I almost threw up in my closet, and I laid down because I physically could not stand anymore. I turned on Young Sheldon to try and distract myself, but I kept on reliving like I was being caught every single other second. I thought I was going to die. I eventually, at 15 minutes of suffering with the looping, called my friend to talk to me so I could be distracted, and it helped. Though as we were talking, I kept on thinking I was getting caught with that man handing an object to a figure over and over again. It went away some with the anxiety still lingering. I got off the phone maybe 15 minutes later and laid in my bed, but as I was trying to fall asleep, the hallucinations and thought looping came back as I laid there for probably 30 minutes more at least until I fell asleep. I woke up twice after falling asleep, waking up with the anxiety thinking I was caught and hallucinating somehow then, but I woke up the next day just fine. I've abused Benadryl, inhalants, gasoline especially for about a year, and I've never had an experience like this that actually made me so horrified and anxious before. I ended up huffing on that rubber cement for 2 hours when I normally do it for only 15 to 20 minutes. I achieved my goal of feeling numb, probably frying half my brain, but I can barely think right now. It took me 20 minutes to find something I just touched. Don't do this. It actually is the worst and the lowest thing you can possibly do. Though I say this, I will probably huff the rubber cement again in the next coming days. I was bored one night. I was sitting at home, had nothing to do. I have smoked weed for a year already. I also tried LSD once. That's about it. I decided to try some glue. I was sitting alone in my room. I took one hit and became very dizzy, then took another hit and my vision was all spinning. I was hearing a loop, took one more hit, and I saw people all over telling me to inhale more. I took another hit and I saw a boxing ring with Mickey Mouse standing in it. I'm like, what the fuck? Another hit, and my heart started beating extremely fast. My vision started going all gray, then my heart stopped beating. I couldn't breathe. I fell on my bed, then I stood up and I saw a friend who wasn't there run to the phone and call an ambulance. I started chasing him, then I told him I'm okay, but he didn't hear me. I couldn't see his face at all. It had shade all over it. I didn't know who it was. So yeah, I ran up to him and tried to grab the phone, but I couldn't. It's like it was air. He threw the phone down and ran out the house. I tried to follow him, but once again I couldn't open the door. He ran back into my room, and as I followed him, I saw myself lying on my bed, passed out, not even breathing. He started trying to wake me up. Then when I felt my body again, I stood up and I didn't see anyone. But the thing that freaked me out was that I had fucking marks on my body/shirt as if someone touched me for real. From this trip, I now believe that there's another world with ghosts, and God himself saved my life when I was lying dead on the bed. One time, a long time ago, although I can recall it quite well, I was all alone at home and very bored and feeling very depressed. I had a sense of self-loathing that I still have today, but this time I was willing to take risks, even knowing the potential dangers and outcomes. I had tried sniffing markers a few times before this, with little luck, just a pounding headache and some dizziness. Since the markers didn't screw up, I thought I would try glue. I searched a cupboard for some super glue and found it. I promptly took the cap off and began sniffing. The smell was awful, but tolerable. I continued to sniff and began feeling a little weird, a bit dizzy, but no headache. I sat down in a chair and waited patiently. It only went downhill from here. I began to notice a very strange feeling, one that is about impossible to describe. It was as if I had no brain, or my head was empty. Lightheaded could describe it partially, but it was more than that, as if there was a big hole in the back of my head, not painful, but that only made it more frightening. This feeling lasted the whole time I was buzzed. I was feeling paranoid, like if my parents would be home and they would somehow instantly know and yell at me. Worse though was the thought that I would die. I really thought I would, but I was already dead on the inside and filled with self-loathing, so I just accepted death and sat, looking around the room, reflecting on past events and my life, what I had experienced, accomplished, what I would miss, and what I wouldn't. At some point, I began to feel good, quite good, not very intoxicated, but happy. I had not a worry in the world, and I felt a smile stretch across my face. I don't know how long I was like that. Could have been 5 minutes, could have been an hour. It didn't matter anyways because my mind was so clear. I was not doing anything, and nothing happened, so there was nothing to remember. Then I heard the key entering and turning the door. My mother came in and started talking about what she would make for supper. I remained mostly silent out of fear for revealing my drug use. I went up to my room and watched television. I didn't really watch it. I just laid there, still, trying to remain calm and ignoring the hideous feeling in my head that I described earlier. I tried to reflect on the past yet again, but I couldn't. Instead, I thought of strange things, horrible things. Everything I thought of was fleshy and deformed, reminding me a lot of Elephant Man or victims of the Chernobyl incident or victims of Agent Orange. Perhaps even a developing human embryo. It's hard to describe, being as there was more than one horrifying image in my head, but they all resembled lumpy, fleshy, weird, disgusting creatures. Freaks. But I deserve to be haunted by such ideas. I was, and still am, a fool and a burden. But I digress. Even after the high wore off, more like a low, the vivid images of deformed freaks still disturb me. I slept poorly, as I often do, just with scarier nightmares. I regret this endeavor for a few reasons. 1. The experience was awful. 2. The weird fleshy freaks still haunt me in my nightmares today. 3. Despite thinking I was going to die, I didn't even cry. 4. For a long time after, I ran a bit slower mentally. I obviously had some brain damage from solvent sniffing. I don't recommend you try huffing solvents.